There are 32,000 branches and central offices, more than Walmart and McDonald's and a couple other big chains combined. So you got 32,000 outlets, community outlets, nonprofit outlets, gathering places, places where federal information about your needs and your rights can be posted, where people can talk things up and meet, as well as get postal services. So this is not just a matter of stamps or delivery on Saturday, important as that is. This is a fundamental institution that binds the country together.
Yes.
It can be updated.
Yes.
It can be updated. It can be freed from the shackles of UPS and FedEx and others who have made sure that the post office is prevented from delivering beer and wine, for example. Other things it can't do to get revenue increases. Now watch what happens when the myth, the propaganda of the collapsing post office is exposed. The U.S. Postal Service is a public corporation. It's the only major corporation in the United States that is a creditor of Uncle Sam, a creditor of the U.S. Treasury. Since it was established in 1970, it hasn't received a penny in subsidy from the taxpayer. Very few people know that. Very few people know that. In 2006, a Trojan horse bill was passed through Congress that requires the Postal Service to overpay, vastly overpay for its pension benefits, for which it has a $60 billion outstanding credit to it from Uncle Sam, or the U.S. Treasury. That's where being a creditor. Of course, the U.S. Treasury's already spent the money on, wars like supporting Israeli imperialism, or the military-industrial complex, and the F-35 and the Trident submarines, which can blow up 200 cities per submarine around the world in 45 minutes. They don't have any money for the U.S. Postal Service. But they don't need that money. They just need to repay the overpay on retiree benefits and the huge overpay for health insurance. There's no corporation in the country that is required by law to prepay 75 years in advance of health benefits.
Crazy.
75 years.
Insanity.
So if you eliminate these prepays and get down to normal, prudent accounting, the post office about breaks even. Can you imagine, even with the reception, even with the internet, even with all the young people abandoning the post office, imagine if they would ever send a thank you letter by postage. They don't even know what postage is, okay? Even with all of that, according to the data, and Senator Bernie Sanders has put this out, go to his website, and you'll see, it's about breaking even in the last 5-6 years, just about breaking even. So this is a exaggerated crisis, built in with Trojan horses, in order to fulfill a number of purposes. One is to deliver more business to the parasite private corporations.
Right.
Okay, that's one. The second is to deliver real estate to the developers and their brokers.
Disgusting.
This is not just a historic post office. It's just a piece of valuable real estate all over the country. They want to convert. If they don't knock them down, they'll convert them into other commercial operations. All right. So I write in October. Yes, October of last year, I wrote Senator Dianne Feinstein a letter. She's the spouse of Richard Blum. Okay, I take it you know Richard Blum. Now look at the sweetheart. Look at the sweetheart deal he cut. His firm is called CBRE, CB Richard Ellis Group. He's the chair. All right, so he gets a contract. This is where people were asleep, and the unions were asleep. he signed a contract to sell off postal properties all over the country without competitive bidding. He can actually deliver some of these to his business associates. Talk about conflict of interest.
Yes.
And he now has amended the contract so he can do his own appraisal. How about this? You appraise the property so that you can sell it for less than real market value. And even though the contract says they have to sell it for real market value, he said, well, we appraised it, and it just, things are tough. It didn't come in, and then he sells it to his buddies.
Right.
Now, the Inspector General of the U.S. Postal Service issued a withering report condemning this. So you can go to the Postal Service website, and you can get it. And also, Peter Byrne, he's not here now, but he's with the East Bay, is it? What paper is he with? Yeah, he published it in the East Bay Express, and he exposed all this. So you see, you have more than a nostalgic reason to preserve this. You have more than a historic reason to preserve this. You have more than a functional reason to preserve this. I mean, companies go up and down, right? Sometimes they go bankrupt and they're rescued by the taxpayer, and they come back, like General Motors and Chrysler, right? But of course, that's never permitted for an awesome historic institution like the U.S. Postal Service, right? They don't get bailed out. They don't get bailed out.
The biggest union in the country.
They don't get bailed out. And what you need to do is also to oppose this for corporate crime purposes.
Yeah.
Because what's going on here is a sweetheart deal. There's a lot of shady stuff. So you want to preserve this post office, you expose Richard Blum. Now Richard Blum, he throws his weight around. He's reshaping the University of California in commercial images and corporatized images. But he's also on the Board of Regents. He's no longer the chair, but he's on the Board of Regents. So next time the Board of Regents meet, what you ought to do is go there, make this the issue.
Kick the Blum out.
Front, put it in the Board and move it. And you're not lacking for any slogans. Okay? So here's the strategies I suggested. You got your own. Is you got to show it's a building momentum. That's what they're afraid of. Something's building, because they know how to wait people out. Oh, they showed up, just ignore them, and they'll get tired, and they'll wait out. Now, in the process, you're educating your children and your grandchildren into why this Postal Service nationwide is so important. When the chips are down and something is definitely needed for delivery, and it cannot be delivered over the internet, and private corporations say it's not profitable enough, what's left in 32,000 areas around the